There comes a moment when you realize nothing is holding experience together. No central point, no inner anchor, no place everything returns to. And yet, nothing falls apart. This episode is about that realization, about what it's like when life continues without an inner center organizing, stabilizing, or unifying experience. Earlier in life, and earlier in this journey, there was often a sense of something at the center, a feeling of being located somewhere inside. Even when awareness softened, even when self-reference dropped, there was still a subtle sense that experience revolved around something. That center wasn't always obvious. It didn't always feel like a self. Sometimes it felt like awareness itself. Sometimes it felt like presence. Sometimes it felt like a quiet here, everything returned to. But gradually, even that center loosens. Not because you let go of it, but because it's no longer needed. Experience doesn't require a hub. When there is no center holding things together, experience feels surprisingly even. Not flat, balanced. No part is privileged over another. Sound doesn't happen to you. Sensation doesn't occur inside you. Thought doesn't arise within a container. Everything simply happens where it happens. This can feel unfamiliar at first. If you were used to orienting around a center, its absence may feel like disorientation. But very quickly, it becomes clear that orientation was never required. Life doesn't need a focal point. When there is no center, experience isn't fragmented. It's seamless. There's no inside and outside needing to be reconciled. No foreground and background being managed. Earlier, attention often moved from a center to an object. Now, attention isn't traveling. There's just appearing. This doesn't mean attention disappears. It means attention isn't localized. It's not owned. It's not directed. It's simply happening. When there is no center, thoughts arise without location. They don't feel like your thoughts. They don't feel like they belong anywhere. They appear and dissolve. Earlier, thought may have felt like it originated somewhere. Now, origin doesn't matter. Thought doesn't point back to anything. This changes how thought is experienced. Thought no longer implies a thinker. It's movement, like sound, like sensation. When there is no center, emotion also feels different. Emotion doesn't gather around a core. It doesn't radiate from a point. It moves and fades. Earlier, emotion may have felt like it happened to you. Now, there's no place for it to land. It's simply felt. This doesn't reduce emotional depth. It removes emotional ownership. Emotion isn't yours or not yours. It's just present. When there is no center, time feels less directional. Moments don't feel like they're passing through you. They don't feel like they're accumulating. They arise and dissolve without reference. Earlier, there may have been a sense of continuity based on memory and identity. Now, continuity doesn't require maintenance. Life moves without being tracked. When there is no center, action happens without hesitation. Not because of confidence, but because nothing is checking in. Movement happens when movement is appropriate. Earlier, action may have been preceded by an inner pause. Now, there's no pause, just response. This doesn't make life chaotic. It makes it fluid. There's no friction between impulse and action. When there is no center, identity feels irrelevant, not erased and used. You don't locate yourself. You don't define yourself. You don't refer back. You simply respond. Earlier, identity may have acted as an organizing principle. Now, organization happens contextually. Situation determines response. This can feel deeply freeing. You don't need to keep yourself together. Life does that on its own. When there is no center, relationships feel different. There's no me interacting with you. There's interaction. Listening happens. Speaking happens. No one is positioning themselves. This often results in greater intimacy. Not emotional intimacy, functional intimacy. Nothing is standing between experience and response. When there is no center, conflict doesn't escalate internally. It doesn't loop around identity. It's addressed or it moves on. Earlier, conflict may have pulled attention inward. Now, it stays where it occurs. When there is no center, silence feels expansive. Not because it's deep, but because nothing is framing it. Silence doesn't belong to anyone. This stage doesn't feel special. It doesn't feel like realization. It feels ordinary, strangely ordinary. You may notice that language feels less compelling. Not absent, but optional. Words arise when needed. Otherwise, there's no urge to name what's happening. When there is no center, meaning doesn't disappear. It stops being required. Life doesn't need interpretation. Earlier, meaning may have helped organize experience. Now, experience organizes itself. When there is no center, mistakes don't land anywhere. They don't accumulate. They don't define. They're corrected or released within the flow of life. This brings a quiet trust. Not trust in outcomes. Trust in movement. This stage doesn't arrive with certainty. It doesn't feel complete. It simply feels unburdened. You may still notice a sense of center sometimes. Habits don't vanish instantly, but when it appears, it doesn't reestablish itself. It fades. This isn't something to maintain. It's not something to return to. It's what remains when nothing is being centered anymore. When there is no center holding things together, life doesn't scatter. It coheres naturally. You don't need to remember this. You don't need to understand it. If it resonates, you'll notice it in your own moments. If it doesn't, nothing is missing. Life doesn't require a center to unfold, and you don't need one to live fully. If any of this feels familiar, you don't need to keep it. But if you'd like to stay connected, you're welcome to. Liking the video helps it reach others who may be quietly noticing that life doesn't revolve around anything anymore. And if these reflections support you as experience unfolds without a center, you can subscribe, not to follow a path, but to keep the door open. And if someone you care about has been trying to keep everything together, you're welcome to share this with them. Only if it feels natural. Sometimes the deepest ease comes from realizing nothing needs to be held together at all.